Welcome back. So we're sitting here, we just had podcast number 11 talking about what is that meaningful career and job and how we could experience it. So we wanted to really throw out this question, right? Because we mentioned that really any job can become meaningful, but the truth is any job also can become not meaningful, which means you can have that job, which, let's just say that doctor, that top surgeon, every single day he's there saving people's lives. The question is, if you're not a doctor, you might think, of course that's a meaningful job. Of course he's filled with meaning. But the truth is that even that job can become an exercise which is just not meaningful at all. So what can we do? What can we do, Rabbi Gerzi? What practices can we try to implement to be able to ensure that we're experiencing meaning in and day out in whatever our jobs are?
Thank you. I think it's a very important question. Kol hakavod. Baruch Hashem. I would, first of all, I just want to start off. I remember sitting with somebody who was a lawyer. He used to done with us in the base of Medrash, and they were a lawyer, and they were really almost on the verge of giving up their job of being a lawyer. They were going to move over into another job, into computers. And I sat with them, I said, why? He says, because when I started this job, it was so meaningful. I used to sit with people and help people, and where others used to charge $500, I would charge $400. Where others used to be very quick and brief, I used to sit down to make sure the person in front of me felt happy. And it was very, very meaningful. However, over the years, less and less meaningful. And we were schmoozing, we were talking. And I said to them, if you go back to those days of when lawyering was really meaningful, like why? Why was it meaningful? What did you do? And the person started listing, and they knew very well they listed, and it was very powerful. It was a really powerful, beautiful experience. And I said, well, just imagine if you started to remind yourself of that
right,
once
thinking
again.
That. Did he feel more meaningful after going through that?
And after, I said, how do you feel? It was like, yes. And I think sometimes when we become overwhelmed at work, when we get into the grind we forget the why. We forget the why. So sometimes, as we mentioned, we could lose touch, we become resentful, we become exhausted. And it's important to remember the why. And I believe there's several different ways in reactivating that why. Number one, I take a piece of paper, I've got a journal, and I write, why am I doing what I am doing? And I remind myself, I journal all the benefits. I'm doing this because I feel it's a good investment of my koiches hanefesh. I'm doing this because I'm Megala HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world in a very specific way. I'm doing this because I feel I have a calling. I'm doing this because I could do tremendous chesed. I'm doing this because of this or the other, whatever it may be. I'm doing this because it earns good money and I could do good things with my money. But when we remember the why, and when we could discuss it with others, sichas chaverim, when I could journal and I could put down on paper, record, or however you wish to communicate it, but you can place outside of yourself. You could put down outside of yourself gratitude and reminding this is important because of. This is important. Then you choose. You use your bechira. I choose to be engaged. I choose, as Rabbi Singer would say, to turn every nisayon into a nisiyah. In English, to turn every frustration into a fascination. I choose to turn every bedieved into a lechatchila. I choose it. And I choose to be present and I choose to be engaged. It's amazing when you choose something. When you feel you have to do something, when you feel you have to do something and you don't own it, when you feel that you've been forced into something, then it's hard. But even if you choose to engage in something that you don't want to do, okay, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to choose to engage. I'm going to choose to do this. I'm going to use my bechira and I'm going to choose to be in this. It's a completely different experience. And one of my mentors used to say, a tasting ground of knowing if you've chosen or not. People come and they say, I feel so resentful because of this and that and the other. A sign that you haven't chosen is a person could feel resentful. Reflect upon that. Think about that. So a person could move from frustration, from a nisayon to fascination to a nisiya. A person can take a bedieved and creatively turn it into a lechatchila. It's our job. One of the makars, one of the nakudas of the Baal Shem Tov was having the ability. The Piasetzna brings it. One of the deep nakudas, which is as well brought by the Ramak in Pardes Ramonim, having the ability to own your states and to change from one state to another state. Having the ability to be present, even though I don't fully want to do this, I choose to do this. This is an opportunity for me to Magada HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. This is an opportunity for me to shine something in this world that has never been before. So to remind ourselves, to journal, Sichas Chaverim, to have the ability to really learn to engage Hislavus once again.
Wow, tremendously powerful. There's a whole toolbox over there. See if I can try to do a sum up of all those tools. So what we've said over here is, as we mentioned in the podcast, we all have the ability to experience jobs as being meaningful, right? But there's knowing it, right? There's knowing that's the reality, but being able to take that knowledge and to be able to put it into our operating system, right, is through the practice of reminding ourselves, right? The zechira, right? The being able to activate something which is dormant inside of us, right? To activate it, and to do it again, and to do it again, and to do it again, whether through it's writing, right? Or people don't like writing, they want to be able to listen to something, whatever works for you, right? To have that built into your day. If you have that built into your day, when you walk into your office, even though you have a billion things to do and you're running behind, you make that decision and have that discipline. I'm not going to start until I give myself that 30 seconds, right? That 1 minute, or in lunch break. Take that 30 seconds, that 1 minute. Look at something that will remind you about why this is meaningful for you, and that makes all the difference.